Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. I see quite a few attendees have joined the session. Let's give a minute or two more for other attendees to join before we begin this session. We'll start in a minute. I see attendees coming in, so we'll start the session exactly in a minute. Thank you. Thank you for waiting, guys. All right, I think we should begin the session for attendees as they come in, as they join in. Thank you very much for your time, guys, today in joining the AWS Sumo Logic Threat Protection Immersion Day. The session that we are going to attend today, talk about is Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM on AWS. With me, we have guest speakers here. We have James, Ashu, and me. So I'll just allow and let James briefly introduce, Ashu briefly introduce themselves, and then go on with the session. James.
Thank you very much. Hello all, I'm James Schaefer, Partner Sales Solutions Architect with AWS. I've been with AWS as a Solutions Architect for a bit over 2 years now. And previous to that, I actually worked in a number of organizations representing both partners and customers of AWS. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashutosh Gupta. I'm based out of India, New Delhi, and I'm solution engineer with Sumo Logic along with Lokesh.
Thank you, Ashu. Thank you, James. I'm Lokesh Shetty. I'm the primary speaker for today. Like Ashu, I am an enterprise solution engineer, especially for security for India and SAARC. Now, with that, let me show you guys a quick agenda for what we are going to cover today. Of course, post the welcome and introduction to Cloud SIEM with AWS and Sumo Logic, followed by a basic or level 1 Cloud SIEM hands-on lab, so that we all get familiar with the user interface of Sumo Logic security platform. A comfort break. And then for attendees who are interested in an advanced or a powered up or level 2 hands-on lab, we'll cover that. Finally, followed by question and answers, your comments, and wrapping up the session. With that, for the next few minutes and slides, I would request James to go on with presenting and talking about AWS and best practices and much more. Over to you, James.
Amazing. Thank you very much. To help us better understand the power of the Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM on AWS, we need to first understand the data sources and the integration. Let's start with the AWS Security Reference Architecture, or for short, the AWS SRA. It's a holistic set of guidelines for deploying the full complement of AWS security services in a multi-account environment. It can be used to help design, implement, and manage AWS security services so that they align with AWS recommended practices. The AWS Security Reference Architecture is a living set of guidance, and it's updated periodically based on new services, new feature releases, customer feedback, and the constantly changing threat landscape. AWS organizations and appropriate multi-account strategy are necessary elements to your security architecture. Properly separating workloads, teams, and functions provides the foundations for separation of duties and defense in-depth strategies. The architecture and accompanying recommendations are based on our collective experience with AWS enterprise customers. You will need to modify and tailor these recommendations to suit your individual environment and security needs. The diagram on screen captures the high-level structure of the AWS SRA, but without displaying the specific services within. It reflects the dedicated accounts structure, and it's helpful to visualize this structure when discussing the primary components of the architecture. All accounts that are shown in the diagram are part of a single AWS organization. AWS organizations help you centrally manage and govern your environment as you grow and scale your AWS resources. At the upper left of the diagram is the org management account, which is used to create the AWS organization itself. Below the org management account is the security OU with two specific accounts, one for security tooling and the other for log archive. And we'll dive a little deeper into those two accounts in the following slides. Along the right side is the infrastructure OU with the network account and the shared services account. And finally, at the bottom of the diagram is a workloads OU. And this is associated with the application accounts that houses the enterprise applications you wish to run. Next slide, please. So onto the security tooling account. This is dedicated for operating security services, monitoring AWS accounts, and automating security alerting and responses. There are a few objectives with the security tooling account. Firstly, to provide a dedicated account to manage access to the security guardrails, to monitoring, and to response. Secondly, maintain the appropriate centralized security infrastructure to monitor security operations, data, and maintain traceability. This data can support detection, investigation, and response, which are essential parts of the security lifecycle and can be used within a quality process or for legal and compliance obligation, and for threat intelligence and response efforts. Thirdly, the security tooling account serves as the administrator account for security services that are managed in an administrator member structure. And finally, to further support a defense in-depth organization strategy by maintaining another layer of control over appropriate security configuration and operations, such as encryption keys and security group settings. This is an account where security operators work. Next slide, please. The log archive account is dedicated to ingesting and archiving all security-related logs and backups. The security objectives of the log archive are immutable storage accessed only by controlled, automated, and monitored mechanisms. Controls can be implemented at depth to protect the integrity and availability of the logs and log management process. It's built for durability, for example, by using appropriate replication and archival processes. In addition to preventative controls, such as assigning less privileged roles, we see the use of detective controls like AWS config to monitor and alert permissions for unexpected changes as being advantageous. And next slide, please. So now we have the context of the SRA architecture. We can touch on how the Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM integrates and gathers data from the wider AWS organization. As per the SRA, the security tooling account is a delegated administration account for Amazon Guard Duty. Within the delegated administration account, ensure that Guard Duty is enabled and correctly configured. As findings are generated by Guard Duty in the workload accounts, they flow through to the security tooling account and are exported to CloudWatch as events. And finally, with Sumo Logic's event processor, it passes the findings into Sumo Logic hosted collector. So that's a high level of what we're going to see today. And I'm actually just going to hand back to Lakesh.
Thank you, James. Now, let's talk about some of the challenges that customers face. On a very high level, you will come across a lot of prospects or customers who have a problem of using legacy SIEM solutions or on-premise solutions that weren't built at all for the cloud or the multi-cloud infrastructure that a lot of customers are going on to. Every one of us might have heard about the digital transformation or moving off your infrastructure on cloud. That's the most important and number one challenge, which is multi-cloud support of your security solution that customers face. But adding on to that, the shift in the digital movement, the infrastructure movement also adds to the shift in the threat landscape. So customers' activity of transforming, moving to the cloud, moving their infrastructure applications, making it available on cloud for better digital experiences, that has shifted the whole threat surface and the attack vectors, which includes, of course, both on-premise and cloud infrastructure of the customers. Add to this a point which has been prevalent in the security industry since 2018-19, and of course, the pandemic has added to it, is alert fatigue. For SOC teams, security analysts, the acceleration or the huge spike in the number of signals and alerts is something that is no longer a human scale problem. You have to bring in a solution, software, or maybe automation to help security analysts, SOC analysts, threat hunters, or forensic analysts with the problem of alert fatigue. Well, that's where Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM powered by AWS comes in to solve not just these three challenges, but many more. But to just talk about a few of those, Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM powered by AWS is reducing complexity and the blind spots in multi-cloud or hybrid or just on-premise as well deployments of a customer. It does that by accelerating modernization of security or modernization of your SOC when customers are already on cloud or migrating to cloud. The platform Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM complements and drives expansion of your AWS security services as they provide rich security content and context to Sumo Logic. We enable AWS support for multi-cloud with all the data, and all of your data stays in AWS. It's easy to buy through AWS Marketplace as well. But let's talk about two different kinds of, on a very high level, requirements or customer base or prospect base. You will either talk to someone or you either are someone who does not have a security operations center, a SOC. So you struggle to maintain your security posture. For customer falling in this particular domain and category where you don't have a SOC or a full-fledged SOC, Cloud SIEM from Sumo Logic will help you detect and respond to security issues faster. It does that by accelerating threat detection and threat investigation, by visualizing, showing you the security data that has been captured, detect the threats, detect the problems, and share alerts, give your team notifications on security events. It also gives you insights about threat intel, integrated threat intel, and of course helps your team with deep search investigation. Not to mention audit and compliance. If a SOC, a SIEM solution is collecting data, showing the insights to you, retaining those raw logs, it helps you reduce your time and effort to meet any and every audit and compliance requirement. We compare Amazon Guard Duty findings as well. We pull in that, we anonymize a global baseline data for you guys or you customers to better understand your security posture. It acts like a threat intel as well. Talking about total cost of ownership, it's reduced because Sumo Logic is a cloud native true SaaS solution, which eliminates administrative overhead. Your sizing, server requirements, even content for that matter is provided by Sumo Logic for your SIEM. Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM integrates with all of your data sources across multiple cloud, on-premise, your SaaS applications that you use, all of these environments can provide data to the Sumo Logic platform. But if you fall in the category which customers and prospects who have a SOC, but the problem that you're facing, challenges that you're facing is you can't keep pace with the evolving threat risk or alert fatigue, the spike in alerts or huge number of threats and insights that you get to see. Problem with management of your SOC and SIM. That's where Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM Advanced can come in. It's a next generation analytics and automation for your SOC team. In addition to what I just mentioned in the category which is shown below, the Cloud SIEM Advanced component can help you normalize all the records and logs, all the data sources, and at the same time, it can enrich them by providing information from global threat intelligence. All this is provided to you at cloud scale. Each and every entity that we capture from your data sources, your IP address, your host name, and every other entity-based correlation is provided by Sumo Logic with, of course, comprehensive out-of-the-box and custom rules library. From day one, you get more than 600 rules, correlation rules for your SIM correlation. The advanced module helps you prioritize investigations and eliminate the problem of alert fatigue, because we help you get signals, high priority signals, actionable insights, and we call it adaptive signal clustering to you as a SOC analyst and a SIM user. In addition to this, we also leverage our machine learning based confidence score, global confidence score, as well as the score that we provide to each and every signal, to each and every insight, so that your team can help minimize false positives, which is again a challenge faced from SIM as a solution. How do we provide all this? Your digital transformation, a customer who is moving to cloud or already on cloud, it requires continuous intelligence of not just businesses, but operations and much more. So we leverage a new category of software that's called continuous intelligence platform, or real-time analytics and insights from one single console, one single cloud native platform across multiple use cases that you can see on the screen. For example, you can see use cases like operational intelligence, analytics for your security intelligence, for your business intelligence, and add global intelligence data to that. All of this will provide you as a customer continuous awareness to impact your results that you're looking for. Few examples, let's talk about operational intelligence. So things like, are my systems up and running? What is my mean time to identify or mean time to resolve a problem? What are my system health concerns? Each and every device that's contributing data to Sumo Logic, each and every data source, what's the health like, uptime, availability, and reliability like? Those are a few examples of operational intelligence that Sumo Logic provides you. Security intelligence, who is using root access on XYZ systems? Is a person logging in from multiple geographical locations simultaneously? That can be a problem which needs to be taken care of. Has my SIEM solution picked up this problem? Is this an actionable item? So multi-geography login, just one example, access to critical servers or brute force attacks. Many of these things is shown to you in security intelligence dashboard. A few examples of business intelligence. What kind of web pages or sections on my mobile application is being frequently viewed by users? What websites are they accessing? What pages are they spending more time on? What are they ordering from my web application or mobile application? What would be my revenue prediction in the near future? If I ran a marketing campaign, was it successful or not? These and many more insights is provided to you by the business intelligence dashboards and component. Lastly, global intelligence, the data that we had. How am I as a customer or organization? How am I doing compared to other organizations by observing worldwide data anonymously shown to you? So the global intelligence shows you your standing, your position, be it business intelligence, operational, mainly security intelligence. So what we do in Sumo Logic continuous intelligence platform is we use your data-driven intelligence to extract real-time insights and business value for the massive volume of machine data that is generated by you guys in form of logs, events, even metrics for that matter, metadata, traces, other telemetry. We support all of these. They can be sent to Sumo Logic platform. Now, these logs, metrics, events, traces, metadata, they come from your applications, your microservices, your cloud systems, your infrastructure, your SaaS service that you use, mobile devices, third-party systems, and feeds, multiple feeds. So what we have done is we have built in applications or apps that will provide you immediate functionality, visibility, and help you probably exceed 85% of your immediate query and analytics requirement. That's what our stack does. Our analytics feature from day one, since we have apps built in. From day one, we have multi-tenancy feature where information is very secure. We have advanced analytics and machine learning in our application. For example, you can easily plot your data on a map box, on a geography-based map box plot, and you can use machine learning to identify new security threats because we are in the cloud and we are elastic. So we can scale the environment based on your demand, the amount of data that you are providing. We support API so that companies can incorporate Sumo logic into other products, and we put the security of our customers first. Sumo logic adheres to a host of industry standards, and we are attested every single year. Our current security certifications and attestations include PCI, SOC 2, Type 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, CSA, STAR, and a distinct product authorized at FedRAMP moderate. Your people, meaning you guys, sorry, you can achieve continuous collaboration across DevOps, engineering, IT, customer success, product, data scientist, and even security operations. All of these you can achieve continuous analytics, visualization, and collaboration because Sumo logic provides insights across multiple user use cases, which I mentioned. All this from a single source of truth to facilitate collaborative thinking and speed your decision making. We have 3 areas of security intelligence solution. After all of that use case example that I gave, talking specifically about security analytics and security intelligence. The first one on the left is audit and compliance. So we are highly scalable, secure platform, which can store all of your data backed by certifications and attestations, like I mentioned in the previous slide. Your data collection is scalable and it is ingested from both cloud and on-premise platform. Now we use a host of out-of-the-box pre-built compliance apps. I'll cover that in the next slide. We have pre-built compliance applications or apps, which will help you from day one of log ingestion to experience a rapid time to value for all the kind of security audits or compliance dashboards and reports that you want. That's number one. So moving to the middle, security analytics is where you will build onto the intelligence. So basically performing search, deep search, using your data, your logs for correlation, which is required for analyzing security events as a standalone. Right? Every single log source, what kind of security events are being captured. I'm not talking about correlation here, that comes later, but you can use pre-built dashboards of Sumo logic to establish monitoring of each and every device, service, source, and also you can get alerts for monitoring those. So Sumo logic also provides advanced analytics for troubleshooting, such as few examples would be integrate threat intelligence via our included industry-leading CrowdStrike threat intel feed that we provide to customers. You can detect, you can alert anomalies via our outlier detection technology. There are 2 main features called log reduce and log compare, so which utilizes machine learning technology to rapidly sift through large data sets. And it helps you perform time-based log comparisons to look for past activities, historical activities, and behaviors. Community threat benchmarking is another feature. We use that as part of our global intelligence service. We compare your AWS guard duty, for instance, your CloudTrail threat data to that of other Sumo logic customers in an anonymized way so that you get to know your threat standing and position compared to other customers using AWS. With that, the third component of our security intelligence solution is Cloud SIEM. Cloud SIEM offers continuous threat intelligence, continuous threat correlation going back weeks, if not days. Or when you compare other solution providers who just compare data for the last few hours, we can go back weeks, a month maybe, to verify. We scan all the data, get all the data from your on-premise, from your cloud, from your multi-cloud infrastructure, even hybrid cloud data sources using our out-of-the-box content rules. We let you know what kind of threats exist in your environment. So for your specially, SIEM is a solution predominantly used by security analysts in a SOC team. So we streamline security analyst workflow. So this is built for analysts to come in, help them with incident management, event management, look at an actionable insight, move them around, work on the insights, and get as much information as possible from one single pane of glass within Cloud SIEM. We also have automation. We call it SOC automation. With help, we can prioritize incidents. We can also help your SOC analyst get alerts, work on alert triaging activities, and help eliminate all the additional noise, not just reducing the false positives, but eliminate the additional noise and thereby reducing the pain of alert fatigue. All this is provided to you in Cloud SIEM. I talked about apps. I talked about out-of-the-box apps, which from day one, if you provide us your logs, your metrics, metadata, traces, and much more, events, these applications, we have more than 200 right now, and half of them are for security. These applications will help you get started from day one. It will help you get insights from your data that you're sending to Sumo Logic, and it will show a lot of visualizations and example searches, example dashboards for most of the common use cases that your operations team, your IT team, your business application team, data scientist, your security operations team would get a lot of value from. You can always edit each and every applications. You can always modify the dashboards, modify the panels, edit the query at the backend if you want to take it a step up. And you can feel free to edit the applications for your own requirement to get the results that you want, not just visualizations, real-time visualizations, analytical dashboards, but you can also configure alerts for monitoring and active notification. In addition to the applications, we also have threat intelligence for immediate or quick analysis. In the previous slide, I mentioned that CrowdStrike, we have an integration and connection with CrowdStrike. So we help get the threat intelligence or premium threat intel feeds from CrowdStrike, where with your own logs, your data for real-time security analytics, we help you detect threats on a standalone basis. What kind of threats exist? We help you protect against cyber attacks in our Sumo Logic platform. This particular threat intel application or app, it scans your selective logs, selective events to identify threats based on, let's say, malicious domain, malicious IP, a hash file, or email, and much more. So in one single console, probably in a day, within 24 hours, if you provide us your logs, your events, metadata, metrics, traces, you can get to see what kind of threats exist in your existing infrastructure. Now, with that, I would like to call in my colleague Ashutosh to help you show a small demo. We do have a slide after this, but a small demo of what Sumo Logic platform looks like, maybe AWS security dashboard and the app catalog, the CMMC template, and he has something in his kitty. So Ashutosh.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lokesh. Let me then start from here. If you can just move to second slide.
Sure.
And yeah, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box. Okay, if you see this, what we were talking about till now is one kind of a security overview dashboard built for AWS services. And if you talk about this, is a combination of many of the dashboards already available out of the box. So if you look into this, first one is talking about the SSO and non-SSO login, which is mostly on the CloudTrail services. Now, as we said, we have multiple integration built in, ready to be used. This one is particularly from Mapbox integration, which will give you the a deep street level kind of information for your logins, the SSOs and non-SSO logins coming from to the CloudTrail. Now, important point to understand in this particular panel is how people are logging and where people are logging from. Now, suppose you have an administrator who is logging from some part of the world, which is not at all you are expecting, or you know that that admin is not existing in that place. That means there is some kind of a not a very right activity which is happening. Of course, there is something which has to be investigated. Now, as I said, it's a street level kind of a view. You can go deep down to the level of, countries and then cities, and then part of it as well. It will provide you the longitude and latitude information, so that it will clearly pinpoint where the person is coming from or the login is coming from. This can be one example. It can be extended to many of the other part of your infrastructure, or not only for this SSO and non-SSO login. Now, second one is the integration with threat intelligence. We also, as we said, our core platform provides out-of-the-box integration with CrowdStrike data feeds, and this integration is updated on a daily basis. So whatever you're seeing, it will be your data will be compared based on your IPs, based on your URLs, in your and the domains, as well as emails. So everything will be compared and seen from the CrowdStrike lens, and seen that if there is any threat, if there is any malicious IP, if there is any malicious actor present, or any threat actor which is present, if there is any IOCs are there in your environment. And this is not only for AWS. Again, it will be compared for all your data, even if you're on a legacy or a traditional infrastructure, or a firewalls using many of the other sources. All the data based on IP, URLs, domains, as well as anything on the email will be checked for those threats. Again, this is part of Sumo Logic, and this is part of the core platform. Of course, we'll talk about the Cloud SIEM, where you can have multiple other feeds as well integrated from other sources. But CrowdStrike is one of the major providers. Now, third panel, which you are seeing, is also one of the example of a configured dashboard, which is a very is one of the technique which is used by threat actors, or for any kind of suspicious login. What is happening is, if you know that in security world, it is like, how somebody is logging from one place, and immediately after some time or within few hours, which is not possible in real, somebody's same user or same IP is even logging, same user is logging from some other part of the world. So that is called suspicious logging distances, and that shows that there is something wrong going on. This is not a real person or a real user who is logging. It's some kind of a threat or IOC can be present. So this kind of a detection, this kind of a panels can be created, and many of them are out of the box, which will help you to identify from the core platform itself that where things are going wrong. The below panels are mostly around data exfiltration and something from a VPC flow. Again, these are all out of the box. Some of the many dashboards which are available for the individually into the app catalog from core platform. Data exfiltration, that's a very common technique, and which happens whenever there's a kind of any attack happen, or any kind of a threat which has been detected. I'll like to talk about the bottom left side panel of the slide, which is talking about the outlier functionality. Now, the huge traffic which is generally coming from in a VPC flow. Now, VPC flow, what is it? And this is one of the example again. And outlier functionality basically is a machine learning analytics which runs on the data and the behavior of your data, which is coming to the Sumo Logic. Now, what it does is it sees the data, it sees that how and what kind of data is coming and what is not normal. So all the pink triangles which you are seeing in this particular panel, it's showing that this is something out of the normal behavior which you are seeing in this time or this part of the week or the month, and all the gray area, the shaded area, it's showing that this is what the trend is. If the trend is moving upward and then there's any kind of anomaly, that is been found by this pink triangle, and then we can create alert for you. You can create your custom alert by sending it to the email or a Slack or Teams that there is something anomalous behavior which is happening. Now, important point here to understand is in today's world, we can't derive or define that this is what normal and this is not normal. What is not normal. This has to come from machine. This has to come from your behavior, your kind of business, your kind of industry you are in. It may not be very similar to what the other person or other company are following. You might be having loads of data in one part of the week, or you might not be having some data in one part of the month, then machine learns the data. Machine learns your data behavior, and it shows you that dynamically find the any kind of outlier, any kind of anomalous behavior. With that, if you talk about some of the dashboards, which are, again, as I said, this is one of the example which we are providing. Many dashboards, many out of the box queries, alerts, and dashboards are available from our app catalog. Yeah, don't forget to put your questions if you have any. Next slide, please. All right, so that's a moment of truth. Let's do some hands-on. I would suggest every one of you to go to this URL, and that is service.sumologic.com. Lokesh can put it into the chat, and use this. Once you log in, it will ask you for the email and the password. So our email, you have to use training plus analyst and 3-digit number. Use any 3-digit number between 001 to 999. Just I'm posting my number, which is 199. Yeah, Lokesh, you can put. So don't use that, because I will be showing you the demonstration from that. So other than 199, use any number between 001 to 999 for your hands-on experience. So like example, if you can see training plus analyst 057@sumologic.com, and the password will be A in capital, UTUM, autumn 22, and an exclamation mark. Once you log in, we'll be taking you to the hands-on lab. Lokesh, have you already provided the hands-on guide to the?
Yes, that has the document as well as the URL and email and login
All right.
format.
So
Has been
yeah,
provided.
if anybody don't have, please put it on the Q&A. We can let
Another example that Ashu gave is if you enter the login as training plus analyst followed by 3 numbers, it can be 007-111. Just pick any number. If you want, you can put the number on chat so that nobody else can take it. I can help guide everyone on what number is being
Yeah,
used.
it's better you just put your numbers. I think chat is disabled for
Okay, so pick a
yeah,
number between 001 and 999. Ashu, which one are you using right now?
I'm using the 199. So other than that, you guys can use anything.
Perfect.
All right. So I'll take a 2 minutes pause. If you have guys not able to log in, please put it on Q&A so that we can help you out as well.
So attendees, you can go to service.sumologic.com, enter the email address as training plus analyst followed by 3 numbers. Like Ashu is using 199. I usually use 108. You can use any 3 numbers at sumologic.com, and the password is autumn22 exclamation. Let's
All
proceed.
right. Go to the one more slide down. We have something to talk about till the time people will be joining in. Yeah, go next, please. All right. So I think Lokesh has already talked about many of these things, but yeah, on the core platform itself, you can do multiple things. Deep searches, the foundational correlation and analytic is already present from there. So you can build your searches. Many of the things, many of the parsing, many of the dashboards provides you a lot of out of the box content so that you don't need to really reinvent the wheel. You can search for your specific queries, specific requirement if you have any custom kind of a dashboard as well. So log analytics is the core of this platform. So you can do that. Dashboards and alerts. Yes, we are providing you many of the things out of the box for many of the things. Like, you talk about any firewall, you talk about a CloudTrail, CloudWatch, you talk about AWS services, VPC flow, etc. Any other on-premises, any firewall services, any ADR solution. So all these are mostly there. I think around 300 plus out of the box content is already present in the platform, which you can be utilize it. If in case you don't, it's an easy way to navigate, create your own dashboards, your own alerts, which I can definitely some of us can guide you if you are going to do some evaluation. And then if you talk about the advanced analytics, that is where the whole thing comes in terms of detect, investigation, and respond part of it. Now, some part, mostly you can do it in the base platform, the Cloud SIEM base platform itself. But yeah, if we will talk about the next part of this session, how you can take it for the further analysis, further, more sophisticated way of doing it in a advanced Cloud SIEM platform. All right, so Lokesh, you can unshare your screen. And by the way, if you guys are not able to log in to the training platform, do let me know. Until the time, I will show you a few of the content from our cloud platform itself. You can unshare, Lokesh. I will share my screen and I'll be then logging to my platform itself. Once again. All right, so let me know if you can see my screen. All right, let me show you some of the basic things, like this. Let me go here. All right, so this is the way we collect the data into Sumo Logic. Now, Sumo Logic being purely a SaaS based offering, you don't have option, or I'll say overhead of managing any kind of management stuff, right? You don't have to create your VM, or even if you're on AWS, you don't have to create your VPCs, your UEC2 to install anything for the Sumo platform itself, other than from the collection part of it. So Sumo sits in between, which is available in many regions across the world in AWS regions. And the collection can happen in many ways. Two major ways are using the install collector and the hosted collector. The install collector basically is the traditional way, or I'll say the way where you like your EC2 instances, your VMs, or anything on a traditional infrastructure or legacy infrastructure, where you need to install the collector, which is a small Java agent, which is running on your systems to collect the data like local files, your syslog, data, or your Windows or Linux events. So those kind of, you can install it. Now, it can be either a distributed model where you can install on many of the systems, or you can have one centralized collection where you can forward the data, or it can collect from your remote machines, your Windows machine, your Linux machine, using the SSH, Windows RPC, file share, etc. Right? This collector also acts as a syslog receiver. So you don't need to invest into a syslog server separately and store it in a local file. It just can listen from your devices, from your firewalls, CDRs, etc. The traffic over the UDP or a TCP port directly, and then send it in a secure way to Sumo Logic. All this communication, which I'm talking about using in transit, it uses TLS SSL based encryption. And also, while the data is at Sumo Logic, we use AES 256 based encryption, and the keys are rolled over. So that's also very important point, because we don't additionally charge or do that if you want to for rolling over the keys itself. So both in transit as well as data at rest are highly secure and very, very accessible to you and only you. It remains there in Sumo Logic. Nobody can accidentally delete it, and it will remain for your contract period, your retention contract period. Now, coming to the right hand side of this slide, which is talking mostly on the hosted collector, where of course where you can't install or you have more leverage, we host the collector for you. And the way you can, if you talk about the AWS specifically, we can collect the data from CloudWatch or CloudWatch logs and metrics, from S3 buckets or your Kinesis Firehose, and many other ways. We have templates available which can be deployed. This is a CloudFormation templates, which are available to deploy in your AWS environment to collect the data in a secure way And this uses primarily either a Lambda function or uses a simple read permission and IAM role to go and read the data from these services in a regular or a continuous manner and send it to Sumo Logic continuously. Now, this is very important because we are also born out of AWS. So everything is very, very, defined and detailed for AWS services. We have many, many other integrations which are available based on your use cases, based on your availability of the data. And then it can be, sent to Sumo Logic in the fashion you wanted. Now, having said that, we are not relieving you or your environment if you are on a multi-cloud kind of a strategy, or if you have, say, Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform. We also uses there as well. We uses Microsoft Monitor or Azure monitors. Maybe on a Google, we are using PubSub and a stack method to get the data in the similar way we are using in AWS. So we have all this documented method. When go to help.sumologic.com to find it out more to how and where the data can be collected from your public cloud infrastructure. Now, if you talk about the bottom part of the slide, bottom right part of the slide, we also provide you a lot of cloud to cloud collectors. So now cloud to cloud collector, which have, because now we are living in a world where you have a lot of SaaS offering already. You are using, you might be using a G Suite or a Google Workspaces. You might be using Microsoft 365, Okta, Duo, Login, or any of your CDN, for example. Your many of your EDR is today on SaaS based offering. So there also you can we have around 70 plus out of the box cloud to cloud collectors, which uses basically the RESTful APIs to collect the data from those sources. So direct communication, not needing any kind of hosted or installed collector to be available. It just communicates via API in a secure way, of course, to get the data from these sources. Only thing is you need to have a global administrator kind of a permission to get the data in a read fashion. So we, as just to tell you that there is not a kind of any kind of a changes to your data. It just reads, take the data, store it in Sumo Logic, and you can use it for your multiple use cases. So it's like writing once and reading for many times. So that's the whole point. Also, we have more again more easy ways and more broader way to collect the data from different part of your infrastructure. If you are on a Dockerized environment, or you are totally on a EKS or Kubernetes environment, whether from any of the cloud provider or self-managed, we use the HEM-based method to collect the data based on your metrics, traces, logs. You can collect it using the open source. The good point is we are packaging it into a HEM chart to get the data into Sumo Logic. Now, out of this part in this session discussion, we are a platform company. We also can provide you a lot of observability kind of use cases where APM kind of solution also is available. You can take the data from for your applications, your Java, your .NET based application, or anything which is supported by OpenTelemetry. That is how you collect the data from different part of your infrastructure. And all in all, the important point to understand in this slide is we are not leaving you anywhere that this data can't be collected or this cannot be utilized. You can collect the data basically from any part of your legacy or modern infrastructure. All right, so I'm sure Lokesh is monitoring the Q&A. If you have any question, please feel free to put it there so that we can take it forward. All right, so if you guys have already logged into this, hold on. All right, let me go to, if you have logged in, you can see something like this. If you go to home button, you can see this kind of a dashboard and you can see your training environment. I can see mine, which is training analyst 199, and it says Sumo Logic training, right? Now what you can do is you can go to app catalog, and this is where you can see the kind of a apps which are available out of the box for your consumption, right? So what point is these all apps are in the app catalog is built by Sumo Logic, managed by Sumo Logic, and primarily it's free to use. So we generally don't charge for any kind of apps and the number of apps being utilized, right? If you go to it specifically on AWS services, which I was talking about, almost all the services, we have the application available for you. So what are these apps? These apps are primarily the collection of dashboards, alerts, and queries out of the box. So we are not just like a data store, keep the data and then start reinventing the wheel, start making your own use cases. These are all out of the box, which we are talking about. So CloudTrail, as I said, we have seen some of the example already. Then if you preview the dashboard, it will show you that these kind of, our dashboards are available. So what you need to do is you just need to first bring the data. CloudTrail, if you are keeping in a CloudWatch or you are keeping in your S3 bucket, the data can be collected. Once the data is collected, you just have to add this integration just by some clicks, and this are ready-made available based on the data available from you. So like, geolocation for our user, login for events by users, login over time. And these are all one of many dashboards which are available. These are all preview. You can use it, you can configure it, you can use it as per your requirement. You can club it or keep a central SIEM dashboard, as I was showing you earlier as well in the slide. You can pick some of them, configure it according to you. Maybe you're not, US or you some part of that country. You can just configure by making some changes to query and use it for your own purpose in the way you want it, right? So these are some example, and similar to CloudTrail, again, there are many, right? So as I said, there are for AWS itself, there are many which is available both in observability and security part of, your use cases. Coming to the secure compliance and security itself, that's a specific section again. I talked about CloudTrail. There you have a specific CloudTrail security related dashboards itself. Guard duty we talk about, right? So this is one of the example, right? Guard duty, security monitoring, or any kind of security analytics which is coming out of the box. The only important point to understand is to bring the data. Here, the learn more tab, which will take you to the guide, which I was talking about. The help.sumo logic is one place where you can just go do a normal search, find out anything which is, for the integration purpose, for the dashboard purpose, or for that matter, anything which is related to Sumo Logic. All right, so hope you guys are able to see something like this into your environment as well. So let me go back to, and if you have the handouts, which will be talking about first login part of it and the activity which we need to perform. So I'll go one by one. I'll be taking you to the, hold on for a second. Right. So if I go back to my platform, before that, I will definitely want to look you to look into the threat intelligence out of the box content which is available. This is again, if you can see on my left, it has many dashboards, many specific part of threat analysis available out of the box. And again, here it is comparing and doing it for all your infrastructure, not only for say AWS, or by the way, we have specific content only for AWS as well. Now, I've just opened one of the, one of the dashboard, which is talking about threat intelligence, quick analysis, IP. So it's only talking about the IP related threat, and the feeds, of course, as I said, it's coming from the CrowdStrike data, okay, and database, okay. Now, if you talk about the threat counts, which is showing last 15 minutes threat count is around 7,333, which is scanned for across your infrastructure. Of course, this is a demo environment and we have a lot of data. So that's why it might be scanning from public, data or data from many of the sources which has been added. Threat intelligence by geolocation, to integration, important integration is done here. Let me just broad my, yeah. So If you see this one, there's a map box plus threat intelligence from CrowdStrike. 2 feeds are there. What it does is go and look into the threat which is coming from because of IP from many parts of your infrastructure and across the geography. Now, if I open the one of the query which I was talking about, that's something not expected. All right. Let me, I think I have to log in again. And sorry for that. Hold on for a second. Yes, I have to log in again. All right, sorry for that. If you can see again, it's a threat intelligence geolocation, what is talking about where which part of the world the threat is coming from. The collector is equal to labs, and it's taking all your Google Apps data here. And now it can be simple star. Star means any part of your infrastructure, the data which is going into Sumo, anything which can be added. Now, if there are some pre-built parsing which is done, basically it's finding out the IP based on where the data is. And then based on the IP, it will search for, do the lookup. Lookup will be finding the, lookup will be done. And there's exercise for that. I will show you that as well. So lookup into where the database from, which is internally a copy of a database for CrowdStrike. And it will look for malicious confidence. It will look for threat level, and it will look for, and this is the place that where Sumo it will find it out, and based on the IP related threat, it will find. Now, once it find out, it also find out the geolocations, right? It will add some labels and it will find it out which part of this, where it's coming from. That is doing in the lookup table for latitude, longitude, country code, etc. So I'll just move this chart to a kind of a table chart. It will show you that what is the latitude, longitude, what is the country code. And this is the map box integration, which has been, fed to Sumo. The region and etc. Right? So you can add any number of fields which are present into your environment, maybe the username, etc. Any kind of a threat actor name. You can see this. These are the threat actor names with their malicious confidence, all which you can add it. And there are many other out of the box dashboards which are already present, which will find it out things for you. So you don't need to really bother and do it if you are just new to Sumo, right? Then again, breakdown of this threat, which part of your infra it is coming from. Then threat actor, I mean the breakdown by the threat actors. You can see these are the very common names, the IOCs which are threat actors which are present in many of the known databases. Salty spider, quilted tiger, etc., etc. Then the by malicious confidence, it will show you which are the low ones, which are the high ones. Of course, you are looking for the medium and high, because those are the areas where the maybe security threats are more present and more relevant. Now, talking about a threat over time, it will show you the graph if it is going higher. And also, I talked about if it is going beyond certain normal deviation or normal activity standard deviation itself. That table, like again, there's some tweak in the query which will show you that label name, which part of your infra, which part of your source, which from where this particular IP or threat which is coming from. So this is one of the example of many of the available out of the box content which can be reutilized and utilized as it is also for your consumption to take it for your own requirements. All right, if I have any question, I will again suggest to go ahead and look into that and put it across. I'll go again to my Sumo Logic training environment, and I will start with some of the labs. All right, so let me start with the first one, which is this. If you go into your handouts, if you took out and read about it, it's talking about monitor a user login from different IP addresses. So what it is doing is it's taking the data, right? In our example, we are taking from CloudTrail, and looking for the console logins. Let me show you in the platform. This something is, not very clearly coming. Hold on for a minute. So if we talk about, let me move this thing down. All right. So if you look into this particular query, it is talking about the data which is coming from the CloudTrail, and we are looking for the keyword which is a console login. By the way, and is very much implicit. If you want to put it, you can. You don't want to put it, you just need to do one thing. You just to go here, copy the whole query till the last part of it, like this, and then go ahead and paste. Open a new search like this, and you can just paste whole query here. Okay, once you paste it, it will be like this. What it will happen, it will be showing you that what is all doing, right? So what it is doing is, as I said, it's taking the data from CloudTrail and searching for the keyword which is console login. Now after that, it is doing some parsing. If I go to the messages, it will be showing. If I'll just comment this out, the whole part of it, it will be like this. It's a simple console login messages, right? And this is how it is appearing into your CloudWatch or wherever it's stored, maybe S3. Now it's giving you all the options. No, but what we are doing is, it's a parsing in Sumo Logic is very easy. Now it's doing all the parsing. It's a JSON formatted log, so it will be parsing it out and telling you that where from what all we want to look into. We want to look into the event name. We want to look into event source. We want to look into the source IP address. You want to look into the user identity. You want to look into response element, etc. Right? So all this, and then some of the more field like ARNs and console login and MFA used or not. Now, no drop you add it once you require to add some of the things like, if it is not present also. So suppose as SAML ARN is not available, it will still show it as a blank. So let me just do this parsing and show you how it looks like. So only parsing statement will be finding everything categorized immediately. So you can say ARN, you can see console login, you can say event name, event source, etc. Whatever you have just now parsed it, right? Now, if I'll just go ahead and uncomment all this part, which will be like this. Still here. All right, so if you're going to go ahead and comment it, it will be again it's very much like a SQL queries where you were writing, where console login is equal to success, count by ARN and source IP address. So some of the operator, we have a cheat sheet. If you go and click in here and click on this cheat sheet, it will give you all these operators, all this parsing method out of, in which you can simply use it, and it will be a good reference for you as well. Right. So, and then what you're doing is you are saying console login is equal to success. You are counting by arranging it by ARN first, and then source IP address. And then what you're doing is you are doing a sorting by ARN. So anything alphabetically or coming from ARN, it will be sorted. Then I think this one is okay. Yeah, and then you say one as a row one, and the total row number by ARN, right? So again, you are doing some sorting, and then if anything is more than one, you are finding that, and then you are counting by the field. So let me run this and show you what kind of result which we were seeing earlier. So you say this is sorted by ARN. It's in a ascending order, right? And then you see the source IP address, which we are find it out. So we said ARN and source IP address, and we are finding the total. Anything which is more than one, that is being counted, and then it will be showing how many ARN has how many source IP address, if how many ARN coming from which source IP address, and what is the count for that. Right, so this is primarily showing your user logins, your console login into your CloudTrail, and then doing some kind of adding the insight. Now, this is by the way, just to give you, and this is coming from out of the box query itself. It is an example of how you can build it, which there are ready to use operators. But yeah, if you're just new to Sumo, you can just use it from our app catalog, which is present out of the box itself. So I'm sure if you guys have able to follow it, I'll take 1 second, 30-second of pause. Probably if you're not able to, if you have any questions on this, or if you're not able to follow up along, you can always use the hands out for later part whenever you are doing this training environment, by the way, available to you till end of this month. And if you guys are required to extend it and use it for later also, we keep on changing. You can request to us. We'll extend this training platform to you.
For new attendees who have joined, I see a few attendees who have joined midway. In the chat section, we have mentioned a handout. There is a URL service.sumologic.com. The email address or the login is training plus analyst followed by any 3 number. We have mentioned the instructions in the handout document. So you can pick a number. Ashu is currently using number 199. You can use training plus analyst 007, any 3-digit number between 001 and 999. And the password for all is autumn22 exclamation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lokesh. I think we are doing good on time.
We are, yes, Ashu.
All right. I'll give you enough time for you. I believe I'm not going to hijack.
There is a comfort break as well, so not to worry about it.
Okay, great. So let's then quickly do the part number 2 of this lab 1 and activity 1 itself. Let's go to that. And what you need to do is, if you already run the first query and understand what we are doing it on the one, we'll map it. We will map all this source IP addresses on the geolocations. Now again, we use the if you can see, this is a geolocation mapping which is done by our integration with Mapbox. And what you need to do is you just grab this 2 lines and go here and paste it on your query itself. I've already done it previously, so I'll just uncomment these 2, right, and show it what can be the magic happen. So if you see that what you're doing is a lookup for latitude, longitude from this geolocation, from this particular lookup table, which is there present in Sumo Logic with the integration, of course, on the back end. You don't have to build or do any kind of a lookup yourself. So it's just a query which you have to run, these 2 query, which is for part 2 of activity 1 in the lab guide, right? So, and then we are counting by the latitude and the longitude. So let me run that for last 15 minutes data. And here you go, it's finding the latitude, longitude, all other things which you present earlier. Now it's not counting by that. It's only counting by the latitude and longitude. Of course, there are few appearing once or a few appearing twice or maybe more number of time. Now the magic is here. We can plot it into our map. Now this will be showing you that which part of the word this is coming from. As I promised you, I can show you that you can go to the street level kind of a view to look into where this login console logins are, where it's coming from. So you say that one part of the word, my infrastructure, my admins are not there, or nobody logins for the, and generally I should expect how I'm seeing that into my environment, right? So you can again go back to the lookup table. You can also add, as I shown you earlier, any kind of a country code, country name, and you are able to see that as well. All right, hope you're able to follow this. If you are able to, let me go to the activity number 2. Now here we are taking some example of threat intelligence lookup. So first was your console login, and second part of the first is the console login on the map. There's one integration. Second is out of the box integration, when we are seeing that which are the IOCs present in my environment, right? So if I go here, and again, I've already used it already. So you just have to grab that, open a new log search, and paste this whole query from the part 2 of the exercise, which is here. Hold on for a moment. Yeah. So just grab all the way till the end of this page and put it into your query like this. Okay. And if I run it, it will show you what is happening. So this is, I'm searching, and let me, okay, so let me tell you what is happening. I'm just limiting it by 1. I'm not asking for anything more than 1. And because I'm not putting any source category or source name, it is searching data like this. It's searching for star. Star is like across your infra, across your sources, right? So that is the meaning of this. It will search everywhere into your environment. And I'm saying use this 84.112.91.96 as my IP, and I'm giving it column name, which is treated as my thread. And I'm just going and looking into the lookup table. I'll look into in the thread feed from CrowdStrike, of course, and this is what it is doing. Again, it is this all is available out of the box in our threat intelligence dashboards. But to give you example of how you can build yourself is this exercise is all about. So you're looking at this particular IP into the threat intelligence table, and then you're saying if it is a malicious or not, right? If it is malicious, say that yes or no, right? And then you are arranging it by my threat, which is your IP, your malicious confidence, low, medium, high, of course, coming from the CrowdStrike feed. And the third part is by actor, right? So once I run it, I run it again for the latest data. It is saying, okay, this is my threat, which is my IP. And then if the data exists into the environment, if it is there into the threat intelligence table from CrowdStrike, put it yes. If it is not, say it no. And then if it is a low or low, high, or malicious, this is again from the feed and the whole message. If it is known actor or not, it will be showing up. So that is one example of searching for any of the IP. You know that some attack happened, right? So something happened, and people are some authentication is happening from the external IP many times in your environment. This is the way you can quickly find it out what is happening, where it's coming, and what is the confidence, or if it has affected something into your environment or not, right? With that, let me go quickly to the second part of this particular activity. What you need to do is you can also do, oh, this is already been done. So yeah, I'm on the last part of it. So I can test it out. I can test it out if just for an example, I say let's say 10.10. Just a random number. I just say this IP, search for this, and what result it shows me, right? If it is present, it's present in my, it says no, data is not present. There's no malicious confidence. Of course, it is not part of the threat intelligence table from CrowdStrike itself. So that is where you can test it out if it is just giving a fake or the real data. Yes, it is not, because it is all real-time feeds, and you are searching for your particular IPs, which are really malicious, known threat actor, and the known IOCs. So with that, I think I'm done with my demo part of today's session. Let me go back and see where we are. Oh yeah, we are at the, yeah, we are at the comfort break. So I'll stop sharing and if you want to share and start talking about, yeah, we will take how much, 5 minutes break, Lokesh?
Yes, we can do that. But just before that, let me just talk about a conclusion for what we just did. So thank you everyone for being there. I hope you got access to service.sumologic.com with your credentials, the number that you chose. We really hope with Ashu's session, an immersive session, you enjoyed that workshop. 3 key main takeaways before we go for a short 5-7 minute break. Key takeaways from what we just saw is deep search, foundation situational correlation and alerting provided by the Sumo Logic continuous intelligence platform, data enrichment, visualization, and troubleshooting, which is detect, investigate, and response. Thank you very much for being here. What we do now is we go for a short break, let's say a 5 to 7 minute break. I can see the list of attendees. Once we come back, we'll have a look at Cloud SIEM, not just slides, but an actual demo, demonstration, the threat lab that you have access to, the service.sumologic.com page that you have access to has Cloud SIEM URL as well. So when we come back from the break, we look at Cloud SIEM Advanced, and spend the next 30 minutes or so on that. So yeah, let's go for a 5-7 minute break, guys. Come back in 5 minutes and we'll continue with Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM.
You have a counter or something which you can put?
I'm not sure whether that's built into
No problem. No problem. Let's then come back in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
The 5-minute break is up, but I'll give a minute more before we start with Cloud SIEM for everyone to just come back and get settled.
Any questions, guys? Please feel free to put it into the Q&A box.
Great. Okay. So let's continue the session for the next 20-25 minutes. Let's talk about Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM, also security, information, and event management, guys. So our Cloud SIEM, Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM, is a next generation SIEM, which means it's born and built in the cloud. It's not ported over to the cloud. These are not virtual machines running out of AWS or Azure. It's built on cloud. And Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM focuses on actual security events, not metrics monitoring only, which means our SIEM correlates threats in real time across your operating systems, your EDRs or endpoint detection response solutions, your IDS, intrusion detection solution system, your firewall, your network traffics, your organization's spam filters, and many more. As we go through this particular demo lab workshop, you'll see how false positives in a SIEM product, how false positives and alerts are reduced, matching your alerts to the MITRE attack framework. There is a website called MITRE or attack.mitre.org. I will recommend everyone to have a look at that. It covers attack techniques and attack tactics, which are known to everyone, and it keeps on updating itself. So covering the MITRE attack framework is what Sumo Logic does. Clustering alerts, signals into actionable insights. So the user interface also has a big heads-up display, which can go into your head unit display in a SOC. And that particular display will give you a single pane of glass to handle all your SOC analyst investigations and workflow. With that, let's take a look at a guided SIEM investigation. I'll show you some slides, and then I'll switch to what Cloud SIEM looks like, Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM looks like. Let's get comfortable with the user interface. You guys do have access to service.sumologic.com. So feel free to click on Cloud SIEM. I'll show you that in a minute. There is a Cloud SIEM option on the bottom left corner of the home page, and I'll guide you through that while we look at certain things. Let's look at one particular insight, which is named persistence with initial access. And let me switch my sharing to that particular screen of Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM. Basically, what we will do is we will look at the threat intel match of the entity, which is the IP address. We will look at certain checkpoint solution, which is detecting a malicious file in your organization, pointing to that IP, pointing to that entity IP. And finally, how CrowdStrike has detected an alert specifically for that IP address. These are the things that we will look at that alert. I'll switch my share to the full screen to go to Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM. Just give me a few seconds. Great. So what you see is service.sumologic.com. The 3-digit number that I have selected is 108. So my login is training.analyst, training plus analyst 108 at sumologic.com. What I get to see is the home screen, which was used by Ashu to show you guys the query, the core platform. On the left-hand side, the bottom section, you'll see an option called Cloud SIEM Enterprise. And when you click on that, when you click on Cloud SIEM Enterprise, let me close any additional tabs. What you get to see is the head unit display of Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM. You see many things here. There are records, which are logs coming in from the Sumo Logic core platform, signals, which are alerts generated by Sumo Logic SIEM, Cloud SIEM, and insights, actionable insights or threads that have been created out of signals. So the flow is logs or records getting converted into signals and alerts whenever we find some anomaly or some action, some activity in your infrastructure. We have rules for that. So a match of a rule and a record is a signal or an alert. And there are many signals. We talked about alert fatigue. The number of signals that I see in the last 24 hours is 9,000. Imagine the number of signals in the last 7 days or 3 days in an actual environment. This is just a lab and a demo setup. This is what alert fatigue is all about. We don't expect the SOC analyst, level 1, level 2 analyst to look at all the signals and alerts, which they can do, but we don't expect that because we need to bring down the problem of alert fatigue. So what we do is we cluster signals together, signals belonging to probably a same entity, same IP, same chain of events or attack chain, attack cycle. And also we find out every signal has a score provided by Sumo Logic, a severity score. If a combination of those multiple signals together is a certain score and above, let's say 12, 15 and above, we create an actionable insight. In this example, you can see a lot of information in one particular screen. So this can be your single pane of glass. This is your SOC screen on the big screen. What I want to show you is on the left-hand side, you see records, you see signals, you see insights, and the same information is also shown to you at the center of the screen, which is kind of like a central radar in a submarine on let's say an air radar that's capturing the threats approaching your entity, your organization. The red triangles are insights. So there are 3 insights identified in the last 24 hours. These light blue or cyan bars are signals or alerts. You can always see number of alerts going up and down for every day. And the outer layer are records coming in. There is a dip, there can be spikes. So your forensic team, your threat hunting team can always look into signals and records if they intend to. But the SOC team, the security analyst, level 1 security analyst, imagine day in a life of a security analyst. I'm your security SOC level 1 analyst. I come in, I log in, I open this dashboard, and I'm interested in the last 24 hours or 8 hours of my shift. What new insights have been generated? So we help as a product to bring that down. Let me click on those 3 insights which have been generated in the last 24 hours. These are the 3 insights: persistent with initial access, discovery of something with execution of probably a malware, and initial access and unspecified malicious activity. The name of each and every insight is derived and based on the MITRE ATT&CK framework. You can always go, just to show you a glimpse of it, attack.mitre.org. All the column head names, the headers are final outcome or tactics. Phishing is not an outcome. Phishing is a technique. If I can point on that, phishing is a technique done by attackers to get initial access or to send you an email which will help you download or which help them download malware. All the final outcomes or tactics and all these sub techniques are captured by Sumo Logic. We use the same naming convention, persistence, initial access, discovery, so that it's easier for your security team to identify what the problem is probably like. So let's look at persistent with initial access. Let me click on that. By the way, I think I clicked on it a bit quick. I wanted to show you what that particular page is also about. Now, remember I mentioned that Sumo Logic makes it easy for your SOC team for incident management and the complete workflow. This is exactly what it is. We have a Kanban view. Of course, you can change it to a card view based on your choice so that you can see as much information as possible, which is when the insight was created. What's the name of the insight? What are the tags, the MITRE attack tactics? What's the severity that has been assigned by Sumo Logic? Which entity, how many signals? Insight is nothing but a cluster of signals or multiple signals brought together with a common intention, entity IP, and type of event or attack. Right? Timeline is also shown to you. This particular insight it contains signals between 19th October and 20th of October. The Kanban view helps the SOC manager or the SOC team to move the cards around. If it's a new insight that I want to work on, currently it's not assigned to anyone. So you can assign it to yourself as a SOC analyst, move it around into a in progress column so that your team understands somebody is working on it. And the column headers for don't use, email send can be changed. So you can bring in your workflow. Now with this understanding, let me click on the first insight to act like a SOC analyst, level 1 SOC analyst. This is that particular single pane of glass which I was talking about, which shows the customers all of the signals. There are 4 signals which has created this insight based on Sumo Logic algorithm. These 4 signals contain multiple entities of your organization, your IP address, your host name, a user which has been involved. Right now, there is no enrichment that has been added, but if this particular insight was, let's say, probably more than phishing or something else like a ransomware, there would have been enrichment which would have been displayed. What CrowdStrike threat intel have we used? What kind of enrichment have we used to create this actionable insight or threat? Before I go into signals, this page will let the SOC analyst know. Of course, the assignment can be done. I can assign it to myself. You guys can also view this in service.sumologic.com. You can tag along, follow it, or just look at the screen, what I'm showing you guys. Severity of the insight. High, medium, low. What is the severity assigned by Sumo Logic? If you wish, after your analysis, you can change that. A global confidence score, something that not many vendors do. So this is generated by Sumo Logic. This is a number between 0 and 100, where the higher the value, higher the number, the higher the confidence that this particular threat, this particular insight is actionable. This will help your team to reduce false positives or reduce the severity. If the confidence score is 10, 20, 25, you can always reduce the severity. We are helping you guys to bring down the number of false positives or insights that you can action upon. There are 4 unique signals coming out of probably 5 different entities, and the tactic, the MITRE attack tactic tag is also shown to you. The analysis that a SOC analyst would do is look at each and every signal in a time order or an event time in an ascending order. So the first signal that was captured, and in this particular time, then I can always use the arrows to navigate. Either I can look at those cards, or let's say I click on the first signal. So I get more insight about that particular signal. What is this particular event? What is this record? When was it captured? And what is the severity of these incidents? Remember, there are 4 signals. So I can always use these arrow buttons for navigating all 4 signals. This is signal number 1, signal number 2, which is CrowdStrike detection, and so on. So let me go back to signal number 1 to give you an example of what kind of study or analysis would a security team do. Right? Signal number 1 is threat intel. There is a device IP which matches the threat intelligence. You scroll down, you look at the IP address. This is your internal IP address. You look at the information that was captured. We convert raw data. We normalize it for you. We extract the contents, and we show what particular mapping. Since this is a threat intel, we show the exact mapping, CrowdStrike, Falcon, or detection events helped us identify that the IP address that was captured matches a malicious IP address, probably some external IP address trying to get access to your organization. Your team can always look at the full details captured in a JSON format, or you can click on raw logs and download the raw logs. This is meant for forensic analysis, but purely from the analysis perspective of the signals. When I look at that first event, which is a device IP match, which matches malicious IP, I go to the second signal, where CrowdStrike, an event from CrowdStrike was sent to Sumo Logic. We analyzed that. We marked it severity 5. Severity 5 and above is like serious signal. We show you which particular rule helped us create the signal and the information about it. Of course, these are in-depth information, but if I go back to the card-based signal view, after the threat intel map, there is a detection by CrowdStrike. We show you the host name, the username, what has been detected, the name of file that has been detected, which is probably a malware, but more on that a bit later. The following event signal is captured by proof point tag. A user in your organization has received a phishing link, a phishing email. Now, this can be an activity done by your organization, or it can be a genuine phishing email which your user has received. The recipient email address is mentioned as well, right? Whether the user clicked on the link or not, that is only known to you as a security team if something has been downloaded, if some action has been taken. We show that as well. We show that and we connect the dots for you. Immediately after the phishing link email, which was received by this particular user, there was a file download, a malicious file, which was downloaded and detected by your EDR or checkpoint in this example. Severity has been assigned to each and every signal. The outcome based on the signal is an external malicious IP was detected, an email was sent to an internal user, probably a phishing email, yes. The link was clicked and some file was downloaded, which is a malicious file. If you want to know more about the malicious file, you can click on that signal, check the details, what the file was, who identified, what is the information, what is the file hash, and much more information about the malware ID, the type of malware is Trojan, the origin IP address, the file hash, and your forensic team can then take, which is level 2. Now, I'm level 1 analyst. For my level 2 team to come in and look at this, I have to take certain actions. So after analyzing all the signals in this particular page, I can go to the left-hand section, add a comment. I can request my level 2 team to come in and look at this particular threat or take action on this threat. So the actions, since these are just the top 11, there are many actions that you can see that we can add. These actions can be both manual and automatic. So by manual, I mean I can send it to my ITSM tool. I can send an email notification to a team, send it to a Slack group. When I click any of these, details about this particular threat and insight will be sent to my level 2 team. Or if I have connected SOAR, you can send it to a SOAR. Sumo Logic also has automation with SOAR. Any other SOAR that you have, you can send it to any other SOAR, recorded future, basically for threat intel information. Any action that you want to take as a level 1 SOC analyst can be done both manually and automatically. An example of automation would be an email notification sent to the level 1, level 2 team if the insight severity is critical. That kind of automated action can also be introduced. Now, with this understanding, let me go back to my slide. What we saw, and I hope you guys, let me resume sharing. I'll share my full screen. That will be easier. Right. So what we actually looked at right now, what we viewed was we looked at the insight, we checked for the signals, we cross-examined the insight and every signal inside it to understand the outcome, which is a phishing attack and a malicious file being downloaded. We saw this information. There is a backend. What happens at the backend? How do we create an insight? Some information on that. This is an example of what I just showed you, persistent access, persistent with initial access. So there are multiple signals that we saw. User receiving a phishing email, checkpoint detected a malicious file that was allowed by an IP address. CrowdStrike also detected a malicious event from the same IP address, calling it a Trojan. And CrowdStrike also detected an alert on that IP address. Each and every signal had a severity ranking, 3, 4, 3, 5. A combination combined score is 15. And you would see that Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM will create an actionable insight, a threat insight, if the severity points within a period of time, let's say 1 week or 2 weeks, is more than 12. That's an example. But the insight engine is adaptive. Signal will be clustered, brought together by algorithms. The clustered signal will create an actionable insight again automatically by our algorithm. The algorithm is, for people who are interested, it's a heuristic-based artificial reasoning system. Simply, the insight engine will provide you a quick view, a powerful view of all the activities that has happened in real time and back in time, let's say for the last 30 days. And the algorithm will automatically create a risk-based, a threat-based actionable insight for your level 1 analyst to look at. Now, these insights that you get to see on the homepage, they represent the complete sophisticated layer of analysis, reconnaissance, attack type, all shown to you in our Cloud SIEM, because the backend, the content, which helps create the insights, the algorithm, is provided by Sumo Logic to you on day one. Let's come to a conclusion based on the signals that we saw. User received a phishing email, Checkpoint detected a malicious file, CrowdStrike also detected. The conclusion is the insight likely shows a phishing attack. So we decided to reach out to the user. We send a notification to level 2 team. The user confirmed that yes, a phishing email, an email which almost looked real, was received, and the user clicked on it. And then we clean the Trojan, we isolate the actions, which is isolating the endpoint system, moving it away from the network, scan, removing the malware. All of those actions can be done by a team, a dedicated team, EDR team, or it can be automated if you are using a SOAR solution. The workflow, an example of the workflow, we went into action, we send an email to the SOC team. Any of these actions can be automated. In a nutshell, a quick check on time. We are going well. In a nutshell, the workflow or day in a life of a SOC analyst, a level 1 SOC analyst, will be pick up an insight, go to the Sumo Logic dashboard, look at that interesting head unit display, pick up the highest priority insight, check the timeline. You can always go and check the list of signals. Go through every signal, get an information. Probably it will take 10-15 minutes for a level 1 security analyst to conclude what each and every signal does, what each and every signal contains, take an action after adding a comment, and come to a conclusion, update the status of the ticket. This is what a security level 1 SOC analyst usually they do every day when they get to see insights. And it's a repeated cycle of pick an insight, work on it, conclude the problem, add the comment, and move it along. We have an exercise, but since you guys have access to service.sumologic.com, you can always go click on Cloud SIEM. You can perform your own independent investigation. I would request every attendee who's interested to get their hands on to this particular lab is to go to service.sumologic.com. Click on Cloud SIEM option. From the home page, you will see Cloud SIEM option on the bottom left corner. Open up Cloud SIEM. I picked an example of persistent with initial access. You can search for insight number 15158 or any insight that you like. The one example that I chose was command and control. You can follow the same workflow which I did. Search for 15158. It's a very simple search. You can just enter 15158 and we'll show you the insight on the Insights tab. Follow the workflow, follow the guideline, see if you can understand the signals. You can do this anytime today. If you want to do it now, I'll be happy to help you with your questions. And follow the same steps. Look at the signals, look at the information captured on the signal, add the comment, try to update the status. This you can do with your own login. If you guys are interested in doing it now, of course, we can discuss what signals are there. But in view of time, I know that you will find something. If you look for the insight command and control, the number that I showed, and for you guys to note it down, it's 15158. So this particular insight will have some signals on an Active Directory account. Let me give you some hints, which is probably terminated, a user who's no longer working for an organization. You should see signals from AWS Guard Duty, which talks about credential exfiltration. And also AWS will contribute saying that AWS Network Firewall has detected a high severity event. I'm interested if you guys can understand what that high security event is. The signal will show that information to you. Come to a conclusion as a SOC analyst that what exactly is happening. If you want me to comment on that later, of course, we can connect and I'll let you know. But look for the user Rico Dynamite and what that particular user is doing in those signals. Once you do that, I'm not going to spend too much time on the next slide because that's question and answers and and polling of what you identified, but I'm skipping the conclusion. It's kind of like an activity that you can do on Cloud SIEM, the access that you have. Ashu mentioned that you will continue to have access throughout the day, probably throughout the week, because the same login that you're using, the 3-digit number with the email address that you're using and the password will continue to be active for at least the next full week. What we saw in this workshop, the 3 key main takeaways, just like the workshop of the core platform that Ashu did, was CSE Insights. By CSE, I mean Cloud SIEM Enterprise. The Cloud SIEM Enterprise from Sumo Logic, the insight part, the actionable insight part, it boils hundreds or thousands of alerts. It goes through hundreds and thousands of signals and provides you a handful manageable insight list or actionable items for you as a SOC team to work upon. So you can automate threat investigation, the complete workflow. You can automate it with enriched correlated user information, device information, network data. This will help you to figure out a scenario of what happened, the example that I gave. And part of the enrichment, to right-click just the entity, you can right-click on the entity, play around with the page that you see. You'll find more information about a user, Rico Dynamite, or any entity IP address that we have captured. Just right-click, click on enrichment, and we'll show you more insights and information about it. Finally, the Cloud SIEM Enterprise from Sumo Logic, we have a list of rules. We have a rules and action library, which you can use to automate your incident management workflow. This will help improve your SOC team's efficiency. This will help you get more out of the logs that you're sending to Sumo Logic, which will automatically get converted into actionable insights. So a quick summary, Cloud SIEM Advanced from Sumo Logic is an AWS-based cloud security information and event management system for your SOC. This is an enterprise-grade platform. This is not open source, of course, which will help you make data-driven decisions and investigate security and operational issues. The 3 key areas which I covered in the initial slide is mentioned. Audit and compliance. You have the Cloud SIEM platform, a security analytics platform, the demonstration that Ashu gave, which will help you with pre-built dashboards, help you get the alerts from every log source that you have configured, and a full-fledged Cloud SIEM Advanced, which will help you get automated insights, just like any other SIEM, but better than on-premise, I would say, because the content, the rules will help you capture threats faster. You do have access to service.sumologic.com, but we also have a concept of free trial sign-up. For as an organization, as an entity, as a partner, you can always go to sumologic.com, or you can use this particular URL, which is amazon.com marketplace. Just search for Sumo Logic in Amazon Marketplace. And this particular link will help you get a trial, a 30-day free trial of the complete Sumo Logic platform, both what Ashutosh showed you and Cloud SIEM Advanced that we just saw a few minutes ago. This will help you onboard your own data. The lab access that you have has some dummy data, but this free trial will help you onboard your own logs, events, metadata, and you can see visualization out of it within a few minutes. You can see Cloud SIEM showing you insights or at least alerts based on the data that you're forwarding to Sumo Logic. My only request is keep your education journey moving forward. You can sign up for cloud security monitoring. You can sign up for the compliance and Cloud SIEM fundamental certification. Go to sumologic.com. There's a learning/training option, and you can get yourself certified or go through certain micro lessons. This is the URL, sumologic.com/learn/training, or just search for Sumo Logic training. All the documentations that you would require, which will help you navigate through Sumo Logic console, understand more about Sumo Logic, is head.sumologic.com. One single stop for everything which is Sumo Logic, both the platforms that we presented today. If you still want to know more, and if video or visualization is your way of learning better, we have a dedicated channel on YouTube, and there is a playlist called Micro Lesson Playlist. Micro Lesson Playlist is nothing but short videos on many different activities that you would do in Cloud SIEM. For example, tuning a rule, understanding what a rule is like, creating custom insights of your own, how a threat investigation flow looks like again, and more on Cloud SIEM Enterprise. All this, each and every video is 5 minutes or less. So the micro lesson playlist will help you learn more, know more. Let's spend the last 2 minutes or 3. I'll check the Q&A. This is the time for questions and answers. I did see some questions which Ashu answered, but for everyone else, any comments, any questions, feel free to put that in chat and Q&A. If not, thank you very much for your time. and keep learning. Thank you, James. Thank you, Ashu, for your time today. I'll just monitor the Q&A and chat for a minute. If there's none, then we'll close this session. Okay. For your ease of access, all the URLs that I mentioned, a public Slack channel, sales email address, and if you want to sign up for a trial, all those links I put in on chat. I think we can call it as a session. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Ashu. Thank you, James.
Thank you, sir.
And keep learning. Thank you.